Hello, everyone. My name is Clyde Boyce. I'm the chairman of the advisory board for EV chargers and installation, and I'm also a reseller for Lightning Motors, which manufactures commercial electric trucks in Colorado. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the evolution of the commercial trucking business to electric trucks. As you can tell by my accent, I'm from Southern Canada, Kingsville to be exact, which is not true. But I'm from Dallas, Texas. And as the name of my company says, I sell EV chargers and provide installation for all types of EVs, whether it be cars or trucks, but all of it is to the commercial end of the business. So the purpose of the day's presentation is to talk a little bit about the evolution to commercial EV trucks. That's happening right now. Not as much as you might think, but it is on the way and it's picking up speed. So what we're going to talk about today is a couple of things. If you'll go to the agenda, it says the state of the fleets right now, getting prepared for the change to EV trucks, the factors driving that EV adoption, the factors limiting it, what's going to happen in the future, and what's happening right now. So let's move along. Let's talk about the state of the fleets. Now, this is going to be probably relative to some of you and not so much to others. So, but I will bet that at least some of this information is exactly what you would say. So I'll start off by saying what we're trying to do is grow to combat restraints. So, and basically what that means is as time goes by, more and more countries, states, cities, municipalities, public utility commissions are going to expect and probably restrict most trucks to be EVs. Now, that doesn't mean 100%, and it doesn't mean immediately, but it does mean that that's something that's going to happen. So here are some of the challenges for private fleets relative to drivers more than anything else. One of them is the aging driver population. Drivers are getting older, and as they get older, they retire, and it's a little difficult to get new drivers into the business. Particularly here in the U.S., we are very short of drivers of electric fleets. Many of the companies here are offering $10,000 to $20,000 bonuses to sign up, full training, and then you're on the road. But they're just not getting as many people as they need to overcome the challenge of the ability to deliver right now. We're just running short on the ability to deliver. There's driver turnover, there's driver hiring, which we've talked about, and then the overall driver shortage. So we kind of talked about all of that. Now, here's a quote from Mike Kramer, who is the VP of Transportation for Quikrete, which some of you may know who that is. We push to add drivers on the outside and the inside. On common carriers is just getting expensive, and it makes the price more and more attractive every day. That comes from Fleet Owner Magazine. So basically what that means is they're doing their best to add drivers in any way possible. So more drivers from the inside that they may train up from lower class trucks to long haul carriers. And it also means that they're trying as hard as they can to get more and more people into the truck driver field. And that's taking a long time. So that slows the delivery of goods and services, which keeps us behind in terms of what we are trying to sell. Also drives inflation because there's just not enough product in the markets and they sell it for higher prices. So the change, part of the evolution, is to overcome those types of problems. So let's talk about the factors that are driving EV adoption. That's starting to happen relatively quickly. Beyond cars, the second fastest growing area of EV adoption is in fleet vehicles. That's not unusual, and it will get even faster. This could be from a company's own initiative to go green or to comply with government regulations. The government is mandating regulations for EV trucks. I'll give you an example. The California Air Resource Advanced Clean Truck Regulation requires that you have at least an attempt to get up to 100% EV trucks over time if you have a fleet of over 100 vehicles. So that means more than having two EV trucks and saying, oh, we're going to make it. They're really wanting to look at higher levels of adoption. I'm going to say 50% plus so that you can meet that requirement. And a lot of other states are starting to look at those same types of requirements for commercial trucks. Why? Because they want diesel trucks off the road. So in the state of Texas, which really doesn't relate to you, but in the state of Texas, there is a grant available right now that says if you will trade in 10 diesel trucks and buy 10 electric trucks that are comparable to the diesel trucks, they will pay 80% of the cost of the truck. That's a good incentive to switch. And there is also a federal law in place right now that runs through the end of the year, and they will probably renew, that says they will give you 30% off the cost of electric trucks and 30% off the cost of installation. So there are some good incentives out there now. There may be more. We can't be sure because we don't know what's going to happen after the midterm elections in the U.S. But my feeling after having been in this business for 5 years is there's going to be more and more incentives, and there's going to be more and more restrictions about the fact that you have to have EV trucks. So how do you get prepared for something like that? There are a lot more fleet companies that are moving to electrification, and this is causing manufacturers to have to move faster because they know they have to have more electric trucks for these fleet companies to have enough to make a difference. And as you might imagine, a lot of this is at the low end of classes of 2 to 4 right now. But for another example, Tesla is going to manufacture 60,000 long haul trucks. They say next year. So that would be a lot of trucks. And I'm going to give you an example of some of the other major truck manufacturers that are moving to EV manufacturing. So in your case, you have to begin to work on a strategy for the conversion because it is going to happen. And I know a lot of you probably don't want that to happen. I know a lot of you probably aren't prepared for that to happen, but it is going to happen. So you really do need to develop a strategy as to how you're going to start this and how you're going to upgrade this as time goes by. You can start with as few EV trucks as you want. That can be 2, that can be a pilot program of 10, it can be 100. There are all kinds of opportunities to buy as many trucks as you're willing to get rid of. Now, at the same time, for you to help on the cost, you can either take advantage of the grants that are available or you can sell your old diesel trucks. They would rather you take advantage of the grants because once the state or the U.S. gets those diesel trucks, they destroy them because they want them off the road. So that was from Fleet Owner as well. In a recent survey, 90% of fleet owners said that they will be moving to electric trucks in the near future. So that's a lot. That's almost everybody. So are you one of the 90% or are you still one of the 10% that says, no, I'm going to hold off as long as I can before I even buy one? My recommendation would be to start either with a couple or with a pilot program so that you can begin to understand the value of an electric truck. Earl Mandel of CalSTART says zero-emission vehicles are on the verge of a major surge in both the U.S. and Canada. As I said earlier, there is beginning to be a much higher acceptance level and production level of commercial EV trucks. So that part of the business is really beginning to grow. And that number doubled from the number in 2019 by 2023. 2023 is right around the corner. So there are going to be many more electric trucks on the road and many more that are being manufactured in the next year. So let's talk a little bit about the factors that limit truck adoption. The first one, and probably the one that is most important to you, is the cost. Electric trucks cost more than internal combustion engine trucks. They just do. And that's because of the cost of the size of the battery. Batteries are the most expensive part of EV vehicles. And to have a battery large enough and powerful enough for commercial fleets, be bigger so that you can get longer range for the higher class trucks. Now, for the lower class trucks, they've got batteries that will work, but a lot of them are only going to deliver 120 to 150 miles of range. For last mile delivery and close deliveries, that's enough. But if you're doing anything over about 100, you're probably going to need to wait till the batteries get a little bit bigger. There are some financial questions that relate to the resale value of first generation electric trucks. As I mentioned, they're expensive, but they are driving the cost down of trucks just like they're driving down the cost of cars. So the batteries are getting cheaper because they're finding more of the chemicals they need to build the batteries. And 3 years ago, probably the longest range battery, even for cars, was only about 200 miles. Now it's up to 400 plus. So we will get to that same area for trucks as time goes by. And that talks a little bit about the lighter trucks versus that are less expensive than the heavier trucks. They have the most challenging duty cycles, and they need more charging infrastructure. So if you have a relatively large truck, let's say class 4 or larger, my recommendation would be to fast chargers. They are called DCFC, which is DC current fast chargers. They cost more, but you'll be able to charge up your truck in a couple of hours versus the lower class 2 chargers that are going to take you days to charge up trucks. So if you are moving to electric vehicles, then look for incentives, opportunities to buy DCFC fast chargers to be the unit that charges your truck. Then that charger and the installation are expensive. But just as the lower class chargers have come down to the level of, good Lord, $1,000, the commercial level chargers, the DCFC chargers, which are now anywhere from about 75,000 up, in the installations, pretty close to the same. As you get to the larger chargers, you may be paying $200,000 for one 2-port DCFC charger. So keep that in mind as you build budgets. This is not an inexpensive thing to do, but it is a thing that you're going to have to build that strategy around in terms of how many trucks can I buy, how many chargers can I afford, that type of information that keeps you prepared for how you're going to make this. Some of the challenge of this is the range that we talked about, the payload, and the specific limitations of both of those things. So if you talk to a charger company or a commercial fleet truck company, you need to know the total cost of those things. And then from that, you can actually determine the total cost of operation. The total cost of operation for EV trucks is much lower than the trucks that we use now, primarily diesel. It's about 30% lower. So make up the difference in the cost of the truck by the cost of operation and the cost of fuel for electric trucks. Now let's talk about what I call the future is now, because now means we're in the mode of selling electric trucks. It's not something that's going to happen 10 years from now. It's underway. So I'll give you a couple of examples of why the future is now. There are already electric trucks on the road, such as DHL, such as Ryder, such as Walmart, such as a lot of the bigger fleet truck companies are already moving to electric vehicles. Some of them have 10,000 plus on order and have already been delivered over 1,000. So as I say, as they are produced, they are sold. They are selling that fast. They sell as fast as they can be produced. So let me give you an example. Electric trucks are approximately 3 times the cost of fossil fuel trucks. But over the lifetime of the fuel and the total cost of operation, the incentives and grants that you can get, and the longer range risk of making the switch are the things that you need to keep in mind. I think the incentives, the cost of operation, the fuel cost is worth the money right now. As you get to the larger trucks, it's going to be a little farther out than today, but it will happen because more and more companies are making those types of trucks. And let me talk about semi-tractor trailers. Companies like Volvo, Peterbilt, BYD, Freightliner, terminal tractors. You can see a couple of those that are listed. Medium duty box trucks, Peterbilt and Lion, cargo and step vans, Lightning e-motors, Motive, and Workhorse. They've all been tested and they're all on the road right now. Would you have thought that of some of these truck manufacturers? They've been around for years, maybe hundreds of years of them. So even the current large manufacturers of big trucks know they need to make the change. Many of them have already started, and they are selling them again as fast as they can build them. So that's kind of where we are in the state of the evolution of trucks, EV trucks. It's happening right now. You need to have a strategy for how you're going to evolve to the use of EV trucks. You have to have a strategy of building budgets to afford EV trucks. You have to think about the total cost going to happen when you evolve to EV trucks. You're going to have chargers because the chargers on the road right now are too slow. So you're going to need the chargers at your place of business. So keep that in mind. As you talk to charger companies, they are going to be in sell mode. They may not answer or know the answer to the questions that you have about how this fits in your business, so it's customized to your need. That's what we do. We offer information, we offer advice, we offer the cost of various charger companies. We represent 4 or 5 chargers. Some are the biggest companies in the world that make chargers. My company actually introduced 2 European charger companies to the US, which is Intellect Way, which is out of Italy, and then EV Box, which is a Dutch company that makes chargers, along with some of the bigger companies in the US, which are ChargePoint, Blink, Juice Bar. So you can make one call, and we're not going to be in sell mode. We're going to be in education mode. So we can help you make the decision of what you want to do, when you want to do it, what's going to be the best for you specifically. So please feel free to give me a call or an email anytime you want. Sorry, I have a dog barking in the background. But understand that we will help you in any way that we possibly can as a company that will talk specifically to your need and not say, oh gosh, you've got to buy this specific charger. It needs to be this level of charging. You need to buy 4 of them, and not know anything about your operation. So please feel free to give us a call or send me an email, which is Clyde, CLYDE, at evci.us. I thank you for your attention. And as I say, contact me anytime and we'll be happy to help what your needs may be.